This is Dr. David D. Shine for this special episode of Saving America with our new weekly update. Here are some of the top stories from the last week. FBI releases 2024 quarterly crime report and use of force data for January through March 2023 and 2024. This indicates, according to the FBI in this new report, violent crime decreased by 15.2%. Murder decreased by 26.4%. Rape decreased by 25.7%. Robbery by 17.8%, and aggravated assault decreased by 12.5%. Reportedly, property crime also decreased by 15.1%. Now, folks, this sounds like wonderful news. And as you know, Dr. Shine is a tough law and order person, and I would love to hear that crime in America really was significantly going down, not just personal injury crime, but property crime as well. Wow, what a wonderful boost, especially for America's cities that are largely controlled by Democrats. Well, as we're fond of doing here in Saving America, let's look behind the statistics. This information was released from the National Use of Force Data Collection and reflects data from 72% of the law enforcement population. That's at least what they're claiming. So this gives some Dems some politician talking points. What about this political shenanigans supported by the FBI? Get this, folks, not included are in these crime statistics are Los Angeles and New York, two of the most crime-ridden cities in America. In fact, missing from the database may be as much as 6,000 law enforcement agencies, or 1/3 of the 18,000 law enforcement agencies in this country, representing 25% of the population. And of course, it's not just the percent of the population, it's where it is. And are those missing law enforcement agencies who have not reported in high crime areas? Yeah. So again, look behind the curtain, see where this stuff is really coming from. It's unfortunate because we need our FBI to be honest with the American people. This is not honest statistics. The Dems are having conniptions about the Supreme Court's recent bump stock ruling. Now, remember, the ruling against bump stocks came from a horrible, horrible incident in Las Vegas where a crazy person locks himself up in a high-rise hotel overlooking a concert site and using a large cache of weapons, including an automatic, semi-automatic rifle equipped with a bump stock, which I'd never heard of before, fired a very large amount of rounds, about 1,000 rounds in 11 minutes. And shortly thereafter, the Trump administration, yes, the Trump administration, ATF, had banned bump stocks, saying that they converted semi-automatic weapons into machine guns. Well, didn't work out that way when it got to the Supreme Court. And so what has happened here is that the Dems are going crazy, how this nasty conservative-controlled Supreme Court ruled against the ATF classifying bump stocks as machine guns. Well, they're not complaining about the same court that just days earlier threw out a challenge to the FDA's deregulation of an abortion drug. But the concept is the same. We are a nation of laws, which of course Joe Biden and his buddies seems to have forgotten. For rules to work, they must come from the right place. Want to complain about a drug ruling? Go to the FDA. Want to redefine bump stock as a machine gun? Go to Congress. The two rulings by this Supreme Court are consistent, and the Dems are being hypocrites like usual. Biden's spouse plan gives 550,000 illegals a path to citizenship. Okay, you are illegal, but you've lived here at least 10 years and are married to a U.S. citizen. This sounds like a pretty reasonable declaration by old Joe. However, there's an existing path to citizenship, and each one of them should have followed it. In my family, a legal alien married my daughter. He is now a U.S. citizen. It's not that complicated, folks. In fact, I don't think my daughter and husband used an attorney even. They just followed the rules. What's wrong with that? The point is, follow these rules. Biden does not have the authority to do this. Biden, in a desperate attempt to buy votes, since he is behind in every swing state, some by big margins, is doing this, and I don't think it's authorized. He is also, by the way, in the same pronouncement, attempting to advance his position with the famous and still illegal DACA plan that would impact another 500,000 people here illegally. As I've said repeatedly, I support substantial increases in legal immigration, but follow the rules. That makes it fair for all of them. It also would help to keep out human traffickers, drug dealers, terrorists, and others who have no business being here. How bad is the illegal alien issue? Authorities in Maryland announced they had charged a monster here illegally with the savage rape and murder of mother of 5, Rachel Morin, while she was on a run in Maryland. He had fled from El Salvador, where he was wanted for murdering a woman. He was linked through DNA to the rape of a 9-year-old girl in California some months earlier. This is a monster. This is someone who never should have been in this country. In New York, 2 13-year-old girls were kidnapped and one raped by an illegal in broad daylight. He used a machete to threaten the girls, then tied them up with shoelaces and molested them. Remember, if they weren't here, they could not have committed these horrendous crimes in America. Thank Joe Biden for opening our borders to these monsters. Deepfakes claimed by the White House press secretary. I love this one, folks. I grew up on the East Coast, so I've known what a piece of garbage Joe Biden is for a long time. It is a shadow on this great company of ours that he is, even in politics, at anything higher than dog catcher. He is stupid and corrupt, and now sliding into dementia, which is all the world can see. Recently, on the heels of his terrible performance at the 80th anniversary of D-Day, he appeared at the G7's conference. This conference is a big deal and was closely followed by the international press. Biden was pictured several times in photos seen around the world appearing to be lost. In fact, the Prime Minister of Italy in one of the pictures is turning Joe Biden around so he can face the right direction. He then flies to Los Angeles for a huge fundraiser by the so-called Hollywood elite. Yeah, those are the losers who appear in movies and then feel that they should tell the rest of us who to vote for. You know, the pack of whack jobs and mental lightweights. In any event, this is a vivid bit of video with Obama helping Biden find his way off the stage. And I've seen that bit of video. I don't think that's a deep fake for sure. And sadly, it's not a good reflection on America. And frankly, I'm beginning to see in my social media feeds, a lot of people feel it is turning into elder abuse. Think about it, elder abuse being practiced against Biden from the puppet masters behind him. So a reporter from Fox, of course, asked the press secretary at the last press report about it. She claims these are deep fakes and old Joe is not as impaired as he appears to be. Well, the press has come out, even some of the slopstream media, and said, no, these are legit photos and videos. As I've said a few times, you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Headline, Comer, House oversight to investigate NewsGuard. The story here is that a private company, NewsGuard, allegedly set up to report misinformation in the press and that may have incredibly gotten some of our precious tax money from the idiots in DC appears to be a whack left operation. Gosh, what a surprise. In any event, I will wait for the report from Comer's committee to come out. I note that there is a similar report about bias at NPR, National Public Radio, which definitely receives federal funding. Note, folks, that I got my start in media on National Public Radio in Philadelphia and at WXPN FM in Philadelphia. So I'm not against NPR, certainly. And I've also been featured in an hour-long television production on NPR here in Houston. But I am concerned when they are showing favoritism to one political party. I think it needs to be a neutral operation. China opens a megaport in Peru, reported cost $3.5 billion. Every rational American must be concerned about China's spreading influence around the globe. This huge country is run by a commie who is on par with the worst James Bond villains in terms of wanting to dominate the world. This person does not have modest objectives, folks. With weak leadership with the likes of Biden on the other side, China has increased its international interference at a rapid rate. In our own hemisphere, China has opened this huge port in Peru, or is in the process of building it. This would allow them to easily plant military weapons there within easy striking distance of the U.S. and its allies. This is a huge concern, and I have not seen any response from the Biden administration. Federal judge blocks Biden administration's Title IX transgender rules in 4 states. On the heels of a similar federal court ruling in Texas, another federal judge has blocked the new Title IX rule in Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, and Idaho. The issue is an Education Department amendment to Title IX. Title IX, remember, is a rule that requires federally supported education to provide equal access for women relative to men. I strongly support Title IX. Well, the new rule emphasizes that there shall be no sex discrimination. Now, let me get this straight. Women were not treated equally with men, so the feds created Title IX, but now they say men need special care. What the heck? This is tied to a movement to allow trans men to compete in women's sports and to be allowed in women's locker rooms and sororities. I want to be clear. I think this is trans movement has hijacked the legitimate quest for equality for gay Americans. These are not the same situations at all. I want to further note that I am not anti-trans for those who have legitimately gone through the procedure to change their gender through hormone therapy and surgery, and also hopefully significant psychological counseling before they go through this extreme step. I am opposed to allowing it for children. I also do not want persons who are pretending to be trans to be taking advantage of our women and girls. I previously reported on a fake trans being allowed in a woman's prison in California. What was the result? Of course, he impregnated 3 women. Now, if the Dems are the party of advancement for women and minorities, how would hurting biological women be a fit? Time for female Dems to start asking questions. Folks, we have a possible mortgage crisis looming for hundreds of thousands of Americans. This could be a very tough time for home buyers who bought homes with adjustable rate mortgages, also known as ARMs. Since 2019, more than 1.7 million people bought a home with an ARM, adjustable rate mortgage. Often an ARM will reset after 3 to 5 years. Many of them are set for 5 years, and that 5-year point is right now. This puts these unlucky homeowners in rates that are more than double what they had previously had. Often, these loans were in the $1 million range and were used in higher price housing markets. Some of those markets have even declined, which would make the situation worse since they would need cash up front, plus having a monthly mortgage payment that could be double. It's a very serious situation, folks. I do not have a resolution other than if we can get the inflation rate down on a long-term basis, then we may be able to lower those mortgage rates. I don't see anything happening in that regard for perhaps at least a year from right now, June of 2024. This is Dr. David D. Shine for Saving America from the Claremont Management Group studios in the beautiful historic Houston Heights. We welcome feedback on our new concept. We are seeking sponsors and advertisers. Please feel free to recommend us to others who might want to sponsor a positive American show. And as always, feel free to subscribe on your favorite platform.